This is a Reconstructionist radio production. Please visit calcedon.edu/store to download this book or purchase a physical copy. Intellectual Schizophrenia, Culture, Crisis and Education by Rosus J. Rushdoony. Copyright 1961, Dorothy Rushdoony and the Rushdoony Irrevocable Trust. Calcedon, Ross House Books. Preface. The purpose of this study has not been either the criticism or praise of the schools as such, but the understanding of the schools and their basic philosophy as cultural manifestations. The era now rapidly drawing to an end has had, as one of its most characteristic cultural products and agencies, the state-sponsored school. An assessment of the school's role, a criticism and some appreciation of it, has been attempted. In most civilizations, the intimations of immortality are an essential part of the cultural experience. It is believed that man has finally arrived, and the true and final forms of expression at last manifested. Only development and fulfillment remains, and a change of premises is seen as anarchy or chaos. In the temper of modernity especially, men are more apt to believe, quote, "Wisdom was born with us," end quote, than to reckon soberly that, quote, "Wisdom may die with us," end quote, or at our hands. An examen of premises is therefore of paramount importance in terms of future potentialities. The state schools and their philosophy are decisive and important aspects of a now faltering and waning culture, and they are a very present power. As long as our culture endures, they will endure and prosper, but they cannot outlast their particular premises and culture. Accordingly, this writer has no quarrel with those who work for the furtherance or improvement of the state schools, or teach therein, nor with the critics of these schools. The intended perspective is cultural rather than intercedent. Most certainly, a person should not be buried before his death, but neither should his immortality be presumed because of his present survival. The signs of a coming change of cultural premises must now be recognized, but the present realities must still be lived with. Man cannot live as a creature of tomorrow, but to be bound by the present is to live in terms of past victories and present defeats. Portions of this book were delivered as lectures to the Christian Teachers Association of the Northwest on October the 15th and 16th, 1959, at Linden, Washington. The Board of Directors of the Association, without implying agreement, felt the lectures of sufficient relevance to merit wider attention and debate, and they accordingly requested their publication. The lectures were, as a result, expanded to include issues developed in discussions, smaller gatherings, and correspondence. The author is indebted to Principal and Mrs. Mark Vander Ark of Leiden for their gracious hospitality and their congeniality to the discussions in their home, but extended beyond midnight. William N. Blake, then president of the association, gave every kindness and help possible to the author, and graciously provided specific data regarding Christian schools. A more personal note is necessary. I believe in the necessity of more emphasis on education and scholarship, but, especially within the institutional church, no greater tragedy characterizes the current scene, especially in the United States, than the retreat of scholarship from the pulpit to the school. Accordingly, in the last 2 centuries, Christian scholarship, theology and philosophy have been academic in their orientation. Such an orientation is definitely necessary, but the vitality and relevance of Christian thought has been largely lost. It is significant that the modern Calvinist reawakening stems from Abraham Kuyper, very definitely a man actively linked with the problems and life of his day. I have, accordingly, believed that the pulpit is the place for Christian scholarship and philosophy. In that faith, I have been actively supported and furthered by the members and officers of the Orthodox Presbyterian Church of Santa Cruz, California, and for their love, prayers, and support, I am deeply grateful. 2 of the appendices, Academic Freedom and The Menace of the Sunday School first appeared in Torch and Trumpet, the publication of the Reformed Fellowship. R.J. Rushdoony, Santa Cruz, California, 1961.
The Reconstructionist Radio Podcast Network brings to you a complete lineup of podcasts where you will hear practical and tactical theology. Our desire is not simply that you consume our shows, but that you also live out your faith in every area of life. We can talk all day long about these things, but if we fail to put them into practice, then we fail as ambassadors of Jesus Christ, our King. Subscribe now to your favorite Reconstructionist Radio Podcast Network shows, or you can subscribe to the Reconstructionist Radio Master Feed, where all of the content we produce, including the audiobooks and audio articles, will pop up as soon as they are available. And don't forget to visit ReconstructionistRadio.com to volunteer as a narrator or to partner with this ministry financially. May the Holy Spirit stir you into action for Christ and His kingdom.